Perfect. Okay, so good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day, and I'm going to help you guys get through this week a little bit easier and just really start off with some intentional income producing activities. IPAs are honestly a game changer, as we all know, to your business and really getting it going. So a lot of you guys are a little bit behind me, but I'm going to start doing, if you've already done these, I want you to just kind of keep doing them with me as we go through. So every morning I get up and I do 3 steps in my stories, which is very similar to all of our leaders. We all do different ways we do it. I will do either one product some morning and you'll just see my capsules, or I'll do me making my shake and you'll see me making my shake. Or sometimes I'll even have my son, and you can get creative with this, you guys, hold my phone and me put on my wearable nutrition. Okay, so making sure you're putting your 3 steps in your stories is so crucial. And if you, and I know this not is for everyone, but if you're for some reason out or forgot or something of that nature, the cool thing is if you save your stories to your camera reel or even like your archive, if you don't know about your archive is on Instagram. It saves anything you've posted on Instagram into that little section, and it will help you be able to go through if you need a story to show your 3 steps to post as well. So 3 steps in stories is something that is a non-negotiable for my business because I need to show consistency with me being a product of the product. And why wouldn't I show me using what I'm obsessed with? So if you haven't done that, I'm going to give you a minute to go ahead and do that and get that popped up. If you've already done that and you already have your 3 steps in your stories, take a boomerang or something of this Zoom and post it to your Zoom. I cannot tell you enough, you guys, how much community has been a huge influence for my following and how it's helped build more people to feel safe to come to me to talk, because people see that community that we have and how we're constantly pouring into each other. They don't always have that. I hear 9 out of 10 times that they don't have that. And honestly, what we have over here is gold. So I always like to show that type of community there. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to do that. I'm going to get you guys on my story so I can get that going. If you tag me, I'll share your story too. But give me a second. Sorry, I just probably blinded you all because I forgot my flash was on. Now, what I always do before I do a post, and we'll kind of go into that because posting, I know, is a lot of things. It's like you have to have that creative juice kind of flowing in order to come up with a post. So I never want you just to post, okay? But I want you to be able to, if you haven't done self-development, and I'm going to be just like Lindsay on this one because it's literally a non-negotiable. If you've not done self-development this morning and you're on this, hop off, please now. I promise you I'll record it and you can watch it later, but self-development is a non-negotiable for you, okay? That is something I don't take lightly, because if you're trying to pour from an empty cup, or maybe you had interrupted self-development time because your kiddos got up or maybe life happened or whatever, you need to really dive deep into some self-development, okay? So that being said, before I focus on my post of the day, I do 1 to 2 posts at the most on my page, okay? Not everyone has to do it like me, but that's what I do. I do 1 to 2 posts on Facebook and Instagram at the most per day. For me, my bread and butter is through connections and networking, okay? Because you can post and that's amazing and that's going to get people to see your stuff. That's your open sign for your business, is posting consistently daily. It's showing people that you're in business, but in order for those people to see your open sign on your business, you have to be building your network and you have to be building people's visibility and connections. We're in a networking company, so networking is friendship building, okay? So what I want you to do for the next like 5 minutes, and I'll put a timer on too. I can put some music on if you guys like music. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 5 minutes. So you can do 2.5 minutes on Facebook, 2.5 minutes on Instagram if you want. I'm not gonna make this overcomplicated, but I want you to go through stories before you go through posts. and I want you to comment 4 or more words. So actually being intentional with your stories and not just being like, I love this, or heart, heart, heart. Okay, because those are engagement. Everyone comments, I love this. That's usually like a lazy way of saying, hey, I'm commenting. And I'm not trying to call anyone out because I do that. I have done this too before. But what I'm saying is the more you're intentional with your conversations or your story replies, the more people are going to see you're being genuine. That is the key. You want to be genuine and not just reply to reply. So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to go on Instagram first. And I'll time the 2.5. If you guys want to switch platforms, you don't have to switch platforms, but we're going to do Instagram and Facebook. And I'm going to focus solely on my stories. And what I do with my stories, I do it similar to Lynn's. I slide all the way over to, and I'll show you guys if you need help with this part, like all the way over on my stories. Oh, those are my messages. This way, so that I'm going to the very, very end and engaging with people I haven't engaged with lately. So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to start that. You guys can also, just as very similar, but skip over any type of like thrivers as well. I know a lot of us engage and hype each other up, which is totally fine, but I try to save that till the end of the day when I go back and comment on your guys' stuff or comment on your guys' stories or something like that. I do those at the end of the day so that my engagements is strictly, or like my follow, like my timeline, sorry, I couldn't talk. My timeline is strictly like potentials, not just Lavelle people popping up first. And don't, like, if you feel like you need to ask anything, make sure you put it in the comment or the chat so I can answer any questions you guys have. Okay, perfect. So 5 minutes are up. So the next thing that I really like to do is I like to do intervals of Facebook and Instagram comments on posts. We're going to still do engagements right now. The reason why I'm having you guys do a lot of engagements right now is because before you do your first post, it's really, really good for your engagement to first engage with others. So if for some reason I don't really pay attention to this. I did at the beginning when I first started my business. But if for some reason your likes are low, or let's say your engagement's low or whatever, that could be a couple different things. First off, it could be the content, but it also could be, hey, maybe you're not giving back what you're trying to receive. So I always like to word it like that. Like, have you given to your audience lately, which is going in and commenting and liking and, being genuine connections with those audience, or are you just expecting them to just engage on your stuff and you're not doing it back to them? So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to do Instagram, and then I'll switch over to Facebook after that. Do you guys want me to put a podcast or something on so we're not like sitting in the quietness, or do you guys have something? Because I'm like a ADD, like, and I'm like, this is way too quiet for me, but if you guys are good, I'm good. Okay, I'm gonna put one on so we can have that playing in the background. If you guys can't hear it, let me know though. Earn Your Happy is one of my favorite podcasts by Lori Hodler. And this one's called Your Burning Questions About Fear and Resistance. I think this is a good one. So you'll hear me listening.
Even if I miss something, it can't actually miss me if it was for me. It will come back around again. Welcome to the Earn Your Happy podcast. I'm Lori Harder, founder of the Bliss Project, 3-time fitness world champion, fitness expert, and cover model turned self-love junkie, lifestyle entrepreneur, and author. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a thought that will help you bust through your fears, connect to your soul, and get focused and clear so you can elevate your life, business, and relationships. We don't wait until we're ready for someone to tell us we're good enough. We take what we want and we anoint ourselves. Get ready to earn, own, and unapologetically rock your happiness every single day. Are you with me? Here we go. Hi everyone, welcome back to Questionably Awesome. It's gonna just be extra awesome because the world needs it, and we have infused ourselves with extra awesomeness. Evans and I, my amazing co-host, who we are doing this virtually because we are isolating ourselves right now. Yes, we are. We're social distancing, which I do naturally on my own all the time. So yeah, I've been seeing so many posts about like how this is like an introvert's dream come true, and we're being called heroes for it. Seriously, introverts unite, because sometimes you just gotta hang out by yourself. Introverts unite separately and in your own home. I love Netflix. How are you doing? I'm good. We were just chatting. There's no coronavirus here, thankfully. None over in your side of town, but it is an interesting mix with cold and flu season. So, you are like, okay, let's take extra precautions to make sure that you are not. And some of my team got tested. They are not. So, so we are all clear. But yeah, it's just an interesting time. So we're going to use this podcast to not minimize what's going on, but to have a couple laughs during life. Yeah, I like laughing. Yeah, me too. So I'm so happy to see you, even though it's not in person. See her right now on screen, you guys. We are virtual. She's wearing her Jenny's sweatshirt. Yes. You know what I like? I really, really like that you get use out of that shirt, because that makes me super happy. And I love that I'm talking about your sweatshirt when I have an actually a much more insane outfit on right now. I'm wearing Cozy, I believe it's called. No, a Comfy. It's actually soft. It's technically like if you took your king size comforter and you poked a hole in the middle. So is it kind of weighted? Like, does it feel like you feel really secure in it? I do. I feel as though I'm a dog wearing a thunder jacket. That's how I want to feel all the time. Well, get yourself a comfy. I believe it's at thecomfy.com. No, this is not bad, but it should be. They really do need to pay me for sponsorship. Yeah, we look great. Oh, well, that's a lie. But I just love you. Okay. I look cuddly. You look very cuddly and secure. And to you, that's great. So I guess you weren't lying. Yeah, I wasn't lying. Cuddly and secure, that's like your favorite thing. Yeah. If I had an ice cream cone right now, it would be hard for me to beat you off. Seriously, I would love it. Okay, what are we doing? What is life? How was your week? Were you just inside the whole week? I really was, because I had an upper respiratory infection and just could not shake this little sickness, and now I'm fine. But sometimes you just have to slow down. But you know what I did do? What? Before I got this, I went to the Bahamas. Oh my gosh, I have been wanting to catch up with you on this. I can't even believe that in light of everything, I forgot about the Bahamas. Please tell me all about it, and where were you? Okay, I was in Harbor Island, okay, Bahamas. Everyone should go there. The people are so friendly and wonderful. The beach is the most, it looks like a screensaver you get with your computer. It is perfect. Did you guys snorkel or anything? We saw some sea turtles, and we went swimming, and we ate fresh seafood and just like lounged around. It's wonderful. Everyone should go. Was that for a bachelorette party? Yes, it was for a bachelorette party, and then Adam came down for like the last part, and we just made like a mini getaway out of it. So it was really fun. We're lucky. Oh my God. Were there any like massive highlights for you or any learnings? Ooh.
Okay, perfect. So now that we have engaged on Instagram, I want to go over to Facebook, because that will, let me read this question. Sorry, I have ADD, you guys. No, I am commenting on anyone that's not Lavelle related. So I'm not like only focusing on potentials. I'm focusing on my audience. So when I'm on my timeline, and there is one thing now that you added that I can tell you guys that helps me organize, because organizing is my jam. It helps my ADD like not be so crazy. So what I do is, let's say you do know someone that is a potential that is interested in Thrive, for example, and you guys have talked about it before. If you're on Instagram, and I'll show you how to do it over on Facebook as well, what I do, and I'll just use this post for example. So you'll see this. I don't know if you guys can see. You probably can't. But there's a post right here. It's really bright. Let me turn on my thing. And what I do is I take the little buttons right here, the 3 dots, and then I push, oh, not the 3 dots. I apologize. The little bookmark right here. I had an ADD moment. The little bookmark right here. And this bookmark, it's going to say save to a collection. I have a potentials folder right here. So what I do is I'll save that to my potentials folder so that it organizes my potentials. People that I've had conversations with about the business or the product. Does that make sense? Has anyone, do you guys, I personally love having organization on that, because it helps me when I need to go engage strictly like just on potentials, for example. All you do to pull it up is you go to your profile picture, like your actual profile. You click the 3 lines at the top right corner. You're going to go to saved, and then it's going to show you, I have workouts. This is how I work out literally in my life, but I have all my gym workouts and stuff underneath here just to have them organized. But I also have my potentials right here. So when I go to my potentials folder, it's going to have everyone that I'm talking to currently about the business underneath here. Does that help you with a little bit of organization? Okay, perfect. So same thing on Facebook. There's an option for that as well, and I can walk you guys through that over on Facebook. For the next 5 minutes, let's engage on Facebook. So if you haven't done stories over on Facebook and started engaging through your stories on Facebook, do that first for the first 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes or whatever you want to do, or you can do it the whole 5, I don't care. But then do what you just did on Instagram over on Facebook. Engage through stories, more than 4 words. The reason why I say more than 4 words is because algorithms, and this is a whole nother Zoom, but algorithms boost your stuff when you're commenting more than 4 words because it's showing that you're building relationships. Instagram and Facebook and how the algorithms work for Instagram and Facebook is they want to see more influencers or more profiles that are building genuine connections. Okay. So one tip I'm also going to do, and you guys can start doing this as I'm talking, so just start engaging over on Facebook. The one thing that I also do on Facebook and Instagram is anyone that's commented on my post, my most recent post for the day. So for example, my last night post, anyone that's commented on that, I'm going to go through whoever's commented on that post, go engage on their stuff that's not Lavelle related. So if they're not if they're a part of my team already, or they're part of our, tribe or whatever, I'm not going to engage on their stuff yet. I do that at the evening time. What I do is I go through people that aren't like Lavelle or anything that have commented on my post, and I start engaging on their stuff as well. And then I comment back on my post saying thank you very much for, this sweet comment, or, whatever you want to be that's genuine to you. And I pretty much say thank you, or I reply back to them based off of whatever they commented, because that's creating conversation. And because it's creating conversation, it's boosting your stuff to the top because of the algorithms. Does that make sense so far? I know that's a little confusing, but I hope I explained it as best as possible. So I'm going to engage with you guys. I know we've been doing it for about 1 minute, 2 minutes now. So I'll give you guys like 3 more minutes before we go on to the next thing. One thing I hear a lot too is sometimes like, I don't know what to post, or I have a hard time posting something every single day, or, whatever you tell yourself, we all have had our excuses or our things before. But I want to help you guys, and this is something I always tell my team that's really, really helpful for me for my post. I don't plan my content. I know people that do and like have like kind of like a structure what they want to post for the day. I personally don't do that. What I do is I get inspiration. I go through and I edit my photos with with Lightroom with presets. So if you don't have a preset, you can get one. But what I do is any photos that I'm like kind of have taken over the last few days, I scroll through my photos. And sometimes I'll get inspired by something that I took a picture of, because it will help me connect to maybe a emotion I was going through when I took that photo. It will help me connect to a vulnerability maybe I was going through. Maybe I was like looking in the mirror and being like, oh my God, I look so gross right now, because I'm human. We do that. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect. So like literally I'll do that, and then that I can formulate a post based off of my vulnerability, or based off of something I'm going through, or based off of maybe even my self-development. If pictures maybe not inspire you, because I'm preparing you for posting. That's what I'm doing, because engagement is super, super key before you post. You don't have to post while you're on the Zoom, but I would like you guys to all get up a post for the day. What really, really helps me with posting also is my self-development. Truly, truly, truly game changer for me is there'll be things that I'll be listening to in a podcast, or maybe I'm reading, or YouTube's. I always listen to like motivational stuff through YouTube. And let's say there's like a phrase or a word or something that stands out to me. I write it in my notes on my phone. And then I build upon that. I don't overthink it anymore. I mean, at the beginning, you guys, if you're newer in this business, we all overthink at times. Okay. It's just life. Okay. We have to learn how to build that mindset part of it, but I don't do it to please people anymore. I don't do my post to fit a box or fit someone else's expectation, or I don't water down my words to make sure I'm not hurting people's feelings or worried about what they're going to think of me. I literally speak from the heart. And that is what I think has been a huge game changer for my audience, is because they feel that through my post. And then they know I'm speaking genuinely to how I would talk to all of you. Or, you know, my potentials, I talk to them the same way I talk to my team. I don't water myself down there. So we have like 2 more minutes. I kind of extended maybe like 1 more minute on Facebook. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to help you guys. It's like a couple other things I want to do. As you can tell, I really, really focus on interactions and engagements. The cool thing is when you're engaging on stories, you're kind of getting into their inbox already, which is something that I love. I do things really different. I don't cold message at all. Not really different. We all do things the same. I don't cold message at all, but because I'm engaging through their stories, and sometimes maybe it's our first connection even, and I've never talked to them before, that allows for a warm conversation. It allows me to start getting to know them because I'm genuinely commenting on their stories. And because of that, it starts that conversation. Some people don't respond, so don't overthink that. Some people will respond, and maybe the conversation, you can kind of tell, isn't fully there yet. So don't get discouraged if it's like, oh, thank you so much, and then you have nothing else to go off of that. That's where you still keep engaging on their stuff. It takes 6 to 21 contacts or follow-ups. I say follow-ups before someone starts asking about what you do, or knowing about, or wanting to like get into what you're doing. Does that make sense? Like, I have potentials that I've been talking with for months, and I will follow up with them once in a while. And literally, like, I had a girl that just signed yesterday that I've been talking to for 6 months. And if it wasn't for me to just keep following up, you know, once a month or once every couple weeks and checking in with her and seeing how she's doing, she would have probably never started. Do you get what I'm saying? If I would have just left it alone and never contacted them again. Fortune is in the follow-up, literally. It is a non-negotiable. My business is built off of my connections and my relationships that I've built. Okay, I noticed on Facebook my friends and family engage less on my more honest posts because I think they're not used to see. So here's the thing. I don't follow any of my family. Like, I have them as friends on my stuff, but I don't follow them. I pay no attention if they like engage on my stuff at all, because I'm not here for them. I'm here for my family, which is me, my son, and my husband. He's not my fiance anymore. My husband. And so with that being said, they're not my potentials, if that makes sense. I don't really care what their opinion is, if they support me or not. I have a vision that's so big that surpasses like kind of maybe where they're even at in life. Like, my parents come to me for advice now. So, you know, I'm not trying to say, hey, like, cut your family off, or like, don't be sensitive to them. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is they're not a potential in the law. Like, they're not, if they're ready to buy, they'll come to you. They know how to find you. If they're wanting to get it on your products, they know how to find you. Don't let that be, oh my God, how come this person in my family hasn't commented on my stuff? Or how come, don't allow your mind to get to that part, because it's just a fear of what people think, maybe. And that's probably something that we got to dive deeper in with self-development, if that makes sense. I honestly just show up as me and focus on my impact and my influence within my posting and what I'm talking about. Because by me being me and you holding your confidence and your belief in you, you will attract the right people back to you. And your family, I guarantee you, is watching you. And I guarantee you they're inspired. But sometimes, and I'm just going to say like this, and then I'll get back to IPA, sometimes they get intimidated by people that are changing or bettering themselves, because it helps it when people are bettering themselves, it makes them self-reflect themselves. And sometimes the self-reflection of what they're looking at inside hits a nerve that they haven't faced themselves. That's just my prerogative on that one. How do you follow up with potential customers versus potential business partners? I don't segregate them. I don't know if that's the right word, or I don't think that's the right, I don't know. I'm not good with words, you guys. I don't divide them. So what I do with follow-ups, just since we're on this topic, I really go through and I am going to follow up in their inbox always. And what I do is I say, hey, and this is if I've had a conversation with them. I'll give you 2 ways of how I follow up. If I've had a conversation with them and they're at that part where they're kind of teeter-tottering and they haven't made a decision, but they want to start, and they keep being like, well, I want to do this, but, or, whatever objection they have. First off, there's always going to be an objection in a conversation. If you need to reference my training on conversations, I go through the conversation opened up, and it goes through the different, like I have all my conversations are the same 4 parts. Feel, felt, found, identifying their needs, overcoming objections, and sealing the deal. There's always going to be overcoming objections in a conversation. So what I do when I follow up, by that point, I should already know their goals and what they're kind of going through or what they're wanting to change. So that is what I use as my, I don't know the right word, my ammo, maybe, I don't know. Because what I do is I say, hey, so-and-so, I know we've been talking for X, Y, and Z. Let's say that we've been talking for off and on for the last couple months. I know that you discussed with me that you're really wanting to work towards your weight loss goals, that you're really wanting to get on track with your health. What has changed since we've been talking? The reason why I do it this way, and and everyone, all of us do it differently. That's what I'm saying. Find what works for you. The reason why I do it this way is at the end of the day, the reason why people don't start is because of fear. At the end of the day, there's your secret ammunition. Everyone that has not started with you is because of some type of fear, whether it be time, money, losing money, not knowing people, whatever it is, it's fear, okay? So me helping them understand, because 99% of the time, or 95, they'll be like, well, I started being more active, or I started eating a little healthier. I say that is great, and I am proud of you for starting to implement that. But when it comes to health goals, it's very, very important to be implementing all 3 things that it takes to get consistent results. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, you got to be eating healthy. That's the thing. You got to be exercising at least 30 minutes a day. And you have to be filling your body with the proper nutrition that it needs to run at its optimal best. Because unless you're taking care of the inside of your body, the first 2 things won't sustain. Does that make sense? The reason why I say that is because I'm speaking from firsthand experience. I went from 218 pounds down to 135 through exercising and eating, okay? And I was at the most tiredest, lethargic. My metabolism couldn't keep up with what I was eating. Like, I started getting too skinny and too exhausted inside, and my body wasn't getting the nutrients that it needs. Even though I was eating healthy, I was literally running on zombie mode, okay? Even though I was in the gym, I was healthy and my outside looked great, but my inside was suffering because I wasn't giving my body what it needed. So it's very, very key for my clients to understand. I call them clients, customers, whatever. For them to understand, in order to get consistent, sustainable results, you got to be doing all three. So I say, hey, I love that you're exercising and eating better. That's great. That's super, super important and definitely what you need to keep doing. But what are you doing to take care of the inside of your body then? And they're like, well, I'm not doing anything. I said, this is the thing we've been talking back and forth about. So I want to help you understand a little bit why it's so, so important. And then I want to understand what fear, and I straight call them out like that. I say, so what fear is holding you back? I'm not afraid to be bold because my confidence and my belief in what I have my hands on is there. And this is where confidence and belief is so, so key, because you can be bold without being rude. You can be bold without being, I don't want to like cuss on here, but like bitchy or whatever people like, whatever you're worried about what people think. If you're being bold and you know you're not being that way in your heart, you're just trying to help someone, own that. So there's a time to be bold, and I teach my team this a lot. So when follow-ups come up, it's very, very key if it's a financial situation or if it's a, let's say they're wanting to join the business. I'd be like, okay, so what financially has changed since we've been talking? Have you been putting that money in the savings account like you said you've been wanting to do? You know, what's changed since we've talked? A lot of times nothing's changed. And that's where I need to help them identify with what's not changed, because then they'll see that they're holding themselves back in the same patterns that keep them exactly where they keep coming to me about wanting to change. Does that make sense? It's all about me helping connect the dots for them to understand that they're in their way in a nice way. Because I have to walk them through their fears. And if I can walk them through these things and help them understand, hey, it's normal, but what you're doing is the same pattern that you keep coming to me wanting to change. And I tell them that. I literally voice message everything, and I'll be like, girl, we've been talking for like 3 months, and you keep coming to me month after month saying you need help with your bills. You need help with your mortgage. You're sick of working 2 jobs. Then why haven't you done anything to change it? It's not like poof, money's going to come out of the air, because you're already paycheck to paycheck. So this is where you got to let your faith be bigger than your fear, because you're going to keep getting the same results that you're coming to me about, because you're not doing nothing to change it. Nothing changes if nothing changes. This is exactly how I talk to my potential, you guys. I'm being very serious on that too. I know we kind of got off track on that. So as you're interacting, I don't unfollow every day. I add to my list, my network or whatever. I add 5 to 7 people on Facebook a day. I don't overwhelm Facebook, because then if you are wondering why you're getting thousands of friend requests from adding people, that is why. Because when you add, it like starts spamming you with people. And so I try to keep it at a healthy number, like 5 to 7 on Facebook. On Instagram, as long as you're not mass adding, you won't get blocked. I do about 10 people on Instagram a day. So if you want, you can go through and add. I'm going to answer kind of anything that I've been missing on here too. And if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. We have like probably like 10 more minutes. Okay, so excited. Oh yes, I love, and I'm just, Katrina, since you brought that up, that really helped me kind of just bring this up to you guys. I feel like this is a really good tidbit to have for you guys. Our new packs and how they're designed right now, the wording on these are freaking gold. So I'm going to talk to you about how I word these. I had a girl that was going to buy a mini experience yesterday. I upsold her because I give her options. I love my mini experiences. I'm never going to say don't sell your mini experiences. Mini experiences are cash in hand. They're gold. They're amazing. It helps skeptics become believers. I'm all about mini experiences. But I also am all about options, because I never want to assume for someone that they can't do something. just because they want to only spend $25 to $30. Okay. We all want to spend only $25 to $30. So what I do is I say, hey, there's a couple different options I can help get you going on. Like the mini experience that we talked about, that one is normally $30 right now, because I always charge $30 because I customize them with my mini experience. My mini experiences, you can always customize the wearable nutrition and you can always customize the shake. So I charge $30, but I also will word it and say, hey, you know, today I'll give them to you for $5 off if that's what you're wanting to do, and we can get you going for $25. What's your address? I'm going to send you over my Venmo. I assume the sale. Okay. And then with that, I'm also going to say, hey, there is 2 other options though that I wanted to talk to you about, so that you are making sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. Because 90% of the time, once someone tries, I say 99 because it's literally like that. 99% of the time, once someone is experienced our 3-day mini experiences, they want to join for a month. So I would hate for you to waste that $25 where you could apply it to a larger stock, because you're going to be thanking me later. So what I do is there's a 2-week option or there's a 4-week option. The 2-week option is going to be all 3 steps, and it's going to be $100. Or for $50 more, you can get a whole month's supply of all 3 steps. And people are like, only $50 more? Yes, only $50 more. So right now, and I'm like, the cool thing about the month supply is before it would have been around $214. Now it's only $150. You get a free box of shakes on us. Do you see how I worded it like that? It's super value. People love seeing the value. So when I break down my packs, and my team knows this, like when I'm having a promoter I'm talking to, I always give them all 3 options for our packs. And I have a template that Em and Lynn's, we all have kind of similar wording on it, but it breaks down what the $400 pack includes, and it breaks down what the $800 pack includes. And it explains how you get double commission with the $800 pack and all the things that come there. It explains what comes in with the $400 pack and everything that you get there. And then the $200 pack. I say a lot of people go with the $200 pack, but here's a couple different options. Which one do you want to do? I hope that helped a little bit. Let's see. Okay. So the next thing I want you guys to do is I want you to do birthdays. I know this is such an underrated situation sometimes, but the power of a birthday is so powerful, because I say, first off, happy birthday. And I usually voice message you guys. I really voice message for everything. I like people hearing my voice, because a lot of people think I'm rude through text messages. And I'm like, well, not a lot of people. My feedback is like, you know, text messages can get misconstrued. So I like people hearing the passion in my voice. That is why I do voice messages. If you're not doing voice messages, your challenge for the day is to do 10 voice messages. Yes, that's a lot. Connections are super, super good. If you have already did those, that's perfect. I want you to go in when they comment back to you and say, thank you so much. What I always do is I say, I hope you had the most amazing day. What did you guys end up having planned? Did you do anything fun? I like to dig deep and see, hey, what's going on? What did they do? Maybe they didn't have plans. Maybe I can be a positive, like, you know, something to help them cheer up, because maybe they didn't have plans on their birthday or whatever it may be. But birthdays are super, super good. I'll give you like 1 more minute to do that. I hope this is kind of helping. I'm not the best at work with me's, honestly. They're not my jam normally, but because I feel like I do all the things that we already do, that sometimes it doesn't bring value, but then I realize that there's so much things that we do differently that sometimes like little tidbits can help you guys so much. So that's why I'm pushing myself to get out of my comfort zones and do work with me's more. Let's see. Oh, also something that I really like to talk about is content, and just really quick, because I'm having ADD clearly. Content, you guys, is super, super good to be creative with, especially right now, because a lot of us are clearly home. or whatever. So for me, last night, my child's been asking, I call him my child, but Kingston's been asking me to do TikTok with him for like ever. And I am not, like, I get socially awkward in real, like, I had someone that follows me on Instagram come up to me at the gym the other day. I'm like, oh, you're talking to me in real life. I'm like, no, but like, no, for real. Like, I'm like kind of socially awkward when you first meet me. I'll be really quiet until you approach me. Once you approach me, I can talk. I'm comfortable. So doing things like TikTok are so out of my comfort zone. But the reason why is I want families and I want women to see I'm relatable besides just a business. Okay? This business is about me. Your brand is not Lavelle. It's not product. It's not none of that. It's a part of your brand. Yes, but your brand is you. Sorry, my dog keeps moving the computer. Your brand is you. So getting creative with content is so good, you guys, to growing an audience. I've had so many people messaging me and messages I woke up to from mine and Kingston's TikTok we did last night. And you know what that does? That sparks conversations. They're like, oh my God, are you having the best time being home with your child? I'm like, no, because I don't know how to keep him entertained. So I'm doing all the social media things right now. I'm going to talk like how I normally do. I was attempting to do a schedule with him. He is not having it. He's literally throwing a fit. So I'm like, we're just going to ride out this quarantine with all the social media. But honestly, you guys, being creative with your content, not trying to always just sell people when you're talking and pitching and being like in your posts. Not doing just sell. If you're going into a conversation, and I'm completely done with IPAs right now, but I want to finish this up with you guys. Because I noticed in conversations, which is something that is really going to unlock your guys' like impact, is a lot of times when people come to us, they're like, well, what do you do? Or tell me more about these products, or tell me about this business that you're doing. And let's say they came to you. A lot of times I see us go straight into the pitch, or straight into the sale, or straight into being like, let me answer all your questions. This is what it does. Da, 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 da. No. For me, what I do is I say I will be happy to answer all your questions. We'll definitely go over that, but I want to get to know you a little bit. What are your goals, or what are you wanting to change? What's going on in your life right now that has you coming to me wanting to know more? And I'm just giving you examples of how I word it. I don't word it all like that in one like response, but I'm giving you guys the like different blueprints that I use to open up that conversation so that I can get to know their need. I tell my team all the time, feel, felt, found. Feel with what they're going through. So let's say maybe, hey, they're struggling with their anxiety. I can totally relate to that. That's something that was the whole reason why I had started this business, is because my anxiety was so bad. I couldn't even get out of work, like bed, to go to work. I didn't even want to face my day. So when I understand what you're saying when it comes to your anxiety and depression, here's what I have found that has worked for me, that's truly changed my life, is 3 simple steps that cater to what my body's lacking in. And they are designed specifically for my mood like my mood support, my mental focus, my mental acuity. Are you on prescription medicine right now, or what are you doing right now for your anxiety? I like to identify what they're doing maybe. And I'm just using anxiety because that relates to me. So feel, felt, found helps me allow myself to be relatable. And then what I have found that's worked for me to help them with their need, because then they're going to want to know more. Does that make sense a little bit? I hope that helped. But the next thing I want you guys to do, and I'll let you guys go after this one, or you guys can go in general, but I want you to focus on a post for the day. If you have not posted for the day, this can be the one thing that kind of like we avoid sometimes. And if you haven't watched it's on my YouTube, and it's a training that we did. It's on my podcast too, because I recorded it from my podcast. The things that you're avoiding are the things that you need to be doing. The things that you're avoiding are often the missing pieces in our business that we keep trying to put, oh, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. Oh, I can do it tomorrow. It's not a big deal if I don't post right now. It's not affecting my business. But yes, it is. That compounded effect of what you're not doing on a daily that you keep justifying and avoiding is the exact thing that's probably needing to be turned to go through that door to unlock that next level. And I'm being so true because like me, I'll use myself as an example. Conversations weren't my jam. Literally weren't my jam for like the first 6-7 months of my business. I would do them, but I would do them very like pitchy and like just get to the point type of thing. And then I read GoPro by Eric Worre, and it changed my conversations. A lot of the things that I give you guys tips on, like feel, felt, found, going for the no, things like that, that comes from that book. And seriously, you guys, when I started Get Over Your Damn Self, that book club we did a few months ago, back in January, that book helped me understand so much because it said a very powerful quote. And it said, I never realized how many people I wasn't talking to until I was talking to enough people. If your business is at a point where like your warm market's up, or maybe your connections haven't been there completely, really focus on, are you building relationships? It doesn't have to be a sale. It doesn't have to be a pitch. It doesn't have to be about the product or the business or anything like that. But literally, no, there's no book club going on right now. But literally, networking is building friendships. So really make sure that you're focused on that. That's why I'm so big on engagement and conversations and things like that, because everything else, all the little things for income producing activities that we do that help the wheels spin, will happen when you're doing the conversations and you're doing the engagements and you're doing the connections, because everything else is just making sure you're building that. Like birthdays, that's building connections. Engagement, that's building connections. Posting, that's building connections. Doing your unfollowing, things like that, that's still building connections because it's focused on what matches you and your brand. So that's my biggest tip, is just really focus on behind the scenes a lot of times and making sure you're staying consistent with the front stuff. Because the front stuff, like posting your stories, things like that, those are your open sign for your business. Behind the scenes is how you get that business to stay open. Makes sense? I hope that helped. But if anyone has questions, please feel free to just message me. I'm always here to help you guys or anything. I am done because I'm gonna get my life like together now that it's like early. My dog, like literally, this is me. So I'm ready. I'm like, I can't move, but I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful day. I want to just challenge you really quick to do one thing outside of your comfort zone today. So maybe it's going live. Maybe you haven't been live in like 3 weeks. Guess what you're doing today? You're going live. Maybe it's like showing your face in your stories and actually talking in your stories. Maybe you haven't done that. Do that. Maybe it's avoiding like an opportunity like story. Like, and you haven't done an opportunity story in a while. Do that. Whatever thing you haven't done that you maybe been avoiding, that's what I want you to challenge yourself to do today. Maybe you've only been having 5 conversations a day. Let's up that to 15. Things like that. I like challenging my people because like it's really about pushing your limits and getting out of your comfort zones. Those are the biggest tips I can give you guys when it comes to growing your business, is really pushing yourself every single day to do something different. Don't worry about being bad at it. Don't worry about failing at it. Don't worry about what people think about it. It's not about that. It's about you pushing your limits to grow your confidence. The more your confidence grows, because guess what? You just did that thing that you've been avoiding. Your confidence is going to grow. Guess what happens from that? Your actions are going to grow. From your actions, your results are going to grow. It's a compounded effect. Okay? So I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm done, I promise now. And thank you guys for hopping on.